Hello everyone, you join us here in the 2025 Kia EV6 GT-Line all-wheel drive, and we're going to take this on quite an extensive road trip. We have about, I think, 203-ish miles to travel, and we are at a supercharger to charge because we only have 142 miles. 46% state of charge. We'll kind of reset everything before we head off on this journey, but we're going to charge to get a little bit more juice in this pack. We'll see how long it takes. I really like the EV information Kia provides for us inside of this vehicle, and I'm going to go plug in and charge now, but you'll see this is a great car to have because it has a NACS port natively built into the vehicle. So let's go hop out, plug in, charge, set that all up, and head out on our journey afterwards. And I'll kind of explain what we'll be doing on this trip, what we'll cover, all the different metrics we'll kind of keep an eye out on. And I think this is going to be a fun journey in the EV6 GT line, and we'll see how much range we could really get out of this new upgraded battery pack. Hopping out the car, let's go charge up our EV6. Now in this one, we do have actually a native Tesla port in here. So I can just pop open this thing here and you'll see we have our Tesla port natively in there, which means we don't need to use our magic connector here. So I can just pop this out. I'll swing it around here actually. I'll just pop it in natively because this has the newer generation Tesla NACS port. Now I'm gonna go activate it via the app and we'll see what starts going on. Okay guys, we plugged in, I activated via the Tesla app here. Let's pop on our Kia EV6 to see what we got, any information, if anything on here. Open up our EV charging page. Oh, I like how it brings up this information for us. Pardon all of the lights, we're in accessory mode, but you can see we're ramping up our speed pretty quickly actually, climbing quite fast, so that's quite nice. And this is a really easy, seamless process. And of course, the benefit of having this NACS port is that it's smaller, easy to carry and hold than these newer generation version 4 supercharger stalls have a much longer cable, so you can kind of just plug them in wherever you need to. And once all of these new superchargers with these upgraded stalls and they get their upgraded hardware, which you can see down over there, they'll all really be able to charge these cars specifically up to their kind of higher peak charging speeds of like 250 kilowatts, for example. I don't know if we're going to see higher than this particular number because I don't think this has the version 4 hardware in this particular car, this particular charger station. So it may not give us the full amount of kilowatts that we want, that this car can particularly have, since it has an 800 volt-ish architecture. I think it's around 600 volts in reality. But nonetheless, still pretty good speeds at around 50% in the battery pack. I think we're only going to charge up to 80% because it literally only says 16 minutes, which is actually quite nice from around 47%. We'll see how much range we have there. It says 50 minutes to 100. And a quick look over here at our instrument cluster here. I actually programmed this little favorite button to open up our AV page there, and I like all the fun information we have on there. It's really easy to change our charge target there. It's going to say we have 336 miles of range at 100%. Now this car is EPA rated at around 271, so that's impressive. And I honestly think in the real world this car is going to do a lot better than what the EPA numbers are, because that's what I've seen in some other reviewers testing. So I'm really excited to see what this car is able to do on a longer road trip. Nonetheless, let's charge, we'll get some juice in this pack, and we'll get everything ready for our road trip and head off. It's going to stop charging, I think, in a second. We're already seeing our kilowatts ramp down, which is pretty cool. So I'll go unplug, we'll head off, and then we'll go start off all the stuff we'll do for this road trip, and we'll go be on our way. Okay, everyone, it is time to head off on our road trip. So quick status update before we head off. We'll go over to our map system here. We are using both the inbuilt Kia navigation as well as Waze through Apple CarPlay. We don't have the Kia connected services on this one, so we might not get all the best updates we need through the Kia system. So that's why I am going to be using this particular system as well. So as you guys can see, we're going to have around a 204-mile journey one way, and we'll be doing this in both directions. So obviously we are going to have to charge. As of our point of leaving right now, we have 268 miles of range. It says maximum 313 if we're driving really efficiently. If we're driving silly, 196 miles. I'm going to reset our trip computer right now just so you guys can have a real idea of this entire journey. So we'll hold our button to reset our trip computer. 000, awesome. So we'll be looking at efficiency as well as our miles traveled, as well as our gasometer kind of estimates when we leave as well as when we arrive as well. So we also have regenerative braking. We'll kind of talk about this while we head out on the road. we're in level 3 right now, but we have a lot of different adjustments with that. We're gonna try to not use the climate controls as much. As you can see here, it gives us our electricity usages here, so to see what's going on. I think we're using a wireless charger right now, but it's using some electricity, just 0.28 kilowatts. But we'll see what happens over the course of this trip. It is getting a little toasty today already. Nonetheless, though, I think it's time to head off on our journey and begin this trip. And we'll guys update you when we head off in a little bit. And we are off, everyone, heading out onto the highway for the first part of this trip. Now, like I said, we got a long ways to go. 201 miles, 4 hours and 6 minutes. I'm glad we have some coffee over here because it's gonna be a long day. Like I mentioned before, 266 miles of range as of right now. We left with 268, and we're gonna be measuring on this trip our miles per kilowatt hour throughout the trip, start, finish, as well as our range on our estimator there, and we'll see how much of this battery pack we use. We're at 80% starting. We started around 81, and we'll see what we get at our destination. We have a lot of great comfort features in here as well. This one gets heated and ventilated front seats with 3 stages of auto climate control. Lots of great EV information on our display over there, as you guys can see, which is really fun. We'll kind of be playing with that throughout the course of this drive. And we get Kia's fantastic Highway Driving Assistant 2.0, which means we get really great radar adaptive cruise control, other great features like our cameras, blind spot monitoring, as well as lane change assist as well. So this thing is fully packed and ready for a road trip, I would say. So I think this is going to make this a really fun experience throughout this day today. So let's test out that lane change real quick, because I'm sure we'll be using it. It even does it on a curve, as you can see right here, and it's pretty confident in its actions. So that's awesome to see. Really quiet on here on the highway. Seats are generally, I would say, comfortable. They're pretty big, which is nice. You have a lot of space to move around. I just wish there was a little bit more lower thigh support and leg support. I think they could have beefed up the bolstering there, but not really too many complaints. Visibility is pretty great. It's pretty quiet in here, like I mentioned as well. And yeah, I think this is pretty comfortable. General suspension, pretty generally smooth. Not a lot of tire noise. I think this is a good road tripper. We got a lot of cargo space over here, nice big cup holders as well. And we're also using Kia's navigation system as well. We don't have the connected services on this particular test vehicle, so I'm not sure if it's going to give us all the information we want to see, but nonetheless we have our Apple CarPlay running as well. We're using Waze for this trip because it seems to be a little bit quicker than what the Apple Maps was saying. Hello everyone, time for a trip update. It has been quite a long time. We still have another 99 miles to go. We have traveled, let's open our trip computer here. We have traveled 104.7 miles. We've been in the car for nearly 3 hours and have another 2.5 hours to go. I would say it's been about an hour of traffic. So that was definitely affecting this trip a little bit, though that traffic did make our miles per kilowatt hour number go up to around 4.7 at the time. It's kind of evened out now around 4.1 as we've kind of been at highway speeds 65, 70 miles an hour there. So that's kind of evened itself out. A lot of that traffic really made great use of this regenerative braking system here. So I tested out using the auto mode system. We had it in the highway driving assist system as well. That does regenerative braking, as well as kind of just playing throughout the 3 different levels. Well, I guess it's kind of 4 different levels actually of regen braking. So that's been quite fun there. Car's doing pretty good. We haven't actually turned on the air conditioning once this time. We've kind of been cycling the windows to kind of let some fresh air in, and using the ventilated seats to kind of reduce energy. If we open our electricity use over the course of this drive, 96% of that has been, of course, the drivetrain. So we've used 0% of the climate controls has been impacting this drive. So I'm trying to keep it as pure as a drive as we can. Obviously in some certain conditions that's just not reasonable, and you're gonna kind of have to use some sort of climate controls in some weather areas. But so far so good. Yeah, we've been having a pretty smooth drive other than the traffic, and we have been doing this whole thing in eco mode this entire trip so far. So again, pretty good, and I will update you guys later on. Okay, everyone, next trip update, and you join us back in traffic, and let's see what we got going on here. So we'll open up our trip computer. We have now traveled 188.3 miles. We've been in the car now for 4 hours and 36 minutes. Got 42 minutes left. This was supposed to be a just under 4 hour drive, but traffic always pops in there every now and then. 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. That is a good number, actually. I'm quite impressed with that, especially because we've had an incredibly diverse amount of driving scenarios. We've had rain, we've had dry land, we've had an insane amount of traffic for like an hour straight, a lot of stop and go, and now we're in, you know, a lot of open highway as well. So it's pretty good to be that efficient in a lot of mixed use traffic scenarios. I like to see that. Otherwise, again, everything's been pretty good. We are getting pretty low now. We have 22% in the battery pack. 70 miles estimated of range left. We have another 19 miles to go. So yeah, all has been pretty good, though I think we've been, again, a little bit on the inefficient side over this trip with all this mixed use stuff. And remember, we didn't start with a full battery pack on this journey. We started off with 80%, so I can't really go off of that full range estimate there, but off of that 80% and what the range estimate we're giving there, we will definitely have a look at that towards at the end of this specific journey here. But again, all is good to report here. The ventilated seats are actually, which is really impressive, they're still cool. Some ventilated seats I've tested actually over time kind of either just blow air on top of you, or will get cool and then kind of tone down and just kind of warm up a little bit. They're still cool, and they've been on almost this entire trip actually, which is pretty impressive. Opening up our EV pages here, again, drivetrain is still our primary usage here. I think we're charging some devices in here, so a little bit of some power is going to that. Otherwise, everything's been pretty good in the EV6. Really, no complaints. Again, very smooth, great regen stuff going on here. Okay, everyone, we have arrived at our destination. Now, trip summary and recap. Let's go over some few things right now. So 209.5 miles total, 5 hours and 19 minutes in the car, 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour over this trip. I think that's a pretty respectable number, especially considering how much kind of mixed traffic we've got, as well as mixed weather conditions. Temperatures as well have kind of fluctuated in the 70s, and now we're in the 65. So it's been all over the place. And I think this is a really good real world test of this vehicle. We had 80% down to 16% state of charge. We had a low battery warning come on at 20%, but we still have 52 miles of range in eco mode. So we'll kind of handle this when we head off on our second leg, going back for the same distance. And we'll see what our charge status and all that stuff is then. But otherwise, I think this is a pretty good overall trip in this Kia EV6 GT line. Pretty efficient, pretty good. Did it exactly meet the range that we saw when we left? Not quite, but it's not far off. If you add up that 52, that's a 209.5. You're not going to get the full like around 286 that we saw, but I think it's pretty close, especially with all of the mixed driving scenarios. The one thing is that we didn't use the climate control, so I wonder how much, we didn't touch this at all this whole journey, so I wonder how much that would have affected actually this overall figure, but still pretty good. I think a pretty comfortable road tripper. The ventilated seats may have zapped into that range quite a little bit, if anything, and we were charging some devices, but otherwise pretty good. And yeah, we'll head off on our next journey. We'll probably have to charge as well, so we'll cover all of that stuff, but thank you guys for joining us on this first leg. Okay guys, we have found ourselves in another parking garage actually, and we can actually charge the EV6 with these level 2 chargers here. They're 30 cents per kilowatt hour, unfortunately not included with our charging, which is paid, but we are gonna have to use this adapter actually, since this is a NACS vehicle at the end of the day. So we're gonna go test this out right now. So we'll open up our charge port door right here. There we go. This is gonna have to go in there, but we're gonna plug it into the charger first. So we have charge points right here. So I'm gonna activate this charger and we'll go see how this plugs on. Okay guys, so I just unplugged this from our charge point charger. Let me pop in our adapter. Okay guys, so I just plugged in my adapter that Kia did provide us. So that's really nice to see. And now let's go plug this into the car because we have the adapter now and we'll get a little bit of juice in this thing. So we can see if we can stretch it all the way down here since those other charge stations are occupied. Graciously, it does fit perfectly well here. We'll pop it in. I already activated it via my charge point app, and let's go hop in the vehicle and validate that we are indeed charging. Okay guys, hopping inside. Voila, we are indeed charging. It isn't the most ideal situation in terms of how much it costs, but it is charging, so I'm gonna take it there. I'm not gonna complain. So we'll see how long it takes to get to 100%. It says 13 hours and 20 minutes at this level 2 charger. It's pulling at a rate of around 5.9 kilowatts, so pretty low, but this car I think could go up to around 11 kilowatts, but I think this is totally fine. We're going to be spending the whole 24 hours here, so we might have to even move it honestly at some point, but this isn't bad. We'll have 100% at 355 miles. We'll see if we actually keep it for this long here, or, kind of stop it at a different percentage. We'll go over to our EV screen here, and we can see we have all of our settings in here. So we can go to our battery status right here, and here we can adjust our AC charge limit as well. So right now we have it to 100%. If I set it to 80% here, it's going to give us a charge of around 277 miles of range and 10 hours and 10 minutes. I don't think we have any charge limits for our amps on here. No limit there. Awesome. Okay, so this is good. So we'll let it sit here like this. This whole process was pretty smooth actually with ChargePoint. I just tapped my card and it activated since I already have an account. If you don't have an account, I think you could just tap your credit card as well. But keep an eye on this, guys. We'll see how much charge we get by the time we come back here, and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, everyone, coming back to the Kia EV6 GT line. It is time to unplug. Oh, it just said charging started because we unlocked the vehicle. It does do that every time we have unlocked the vehicle, actually. So we have been here for quite some time. We now have almost full charge at this point. So let's go open up the vehicle and take a look at the percentage we're at right now. Let's unlock the car again. Hopping inside real quick. Before we unplug, we'll power it on to get a state of charge status here. So we've actually been here for over 9 hours actually walking around, and it still has another 3 hours and 45 minutes to get to the full 100%. But in that time span on a level 2 charger, which is totally normal at this kind of rate of speed, this is what you would expect out of a level 2 charger, so you could charge it overnight at home. We've gained 260-ish miles. And it's been going on 6 kilowatts since we started charging, actually. So it's been going on at 6 kilowatts this whole time. So we went around, I think, 14-ish%, up to around 75% state of charge. And it has not cost us that much money as well. I believe it's under $20. I will post the actual figure of our cost right over here, overlay on this video for you guys. But not too bad for just sitting here all day and charging at a level 2 charger. So that's pretty nice to see. And we got some pretty good amount of range. Now, it was around 30 cents per kilowatt hour actually in this vehicle at this level 2 charger. Obviously, if you're charging this at home, it's going to be a little bit cheaper at the end of the day. But let's go unplug and we'll go park over the Kia and we'll take it on the next leg of this journey. Okay, guys, let's go unplug the Kia here. I should be able to just pull it off. And it does stop charging there, but it looks like our adapter is stuck in here, which we can pull right out there. So this is the adapter Kia gave us, and it went onto this J1772 port to the NACS port right there. So let's go pop this back in. We'll pop the adapter inside, and we'll close up our charge port door right here. Easy and nice with the power operation. And completing our charge here, guys, it was around $17 for our total charge on this particular ChargePoint charger here. So pretty good, easy to use as well. Well, hello everyone. It is now time for our second leg of this road trip, and let's begin with starting off our details of this trip. So we have around almost 200 miles to travel, if you guys can see this here. 3 hours, 10 minutes estimated travel time, and we have just fully charged this EV6 GT line by level 2 charging actually overnight. So we got it up to 99%, basically 100. It kind of went to 100, unplugged it, went down to 99, but 355 miles, max 391, minimum 246. Now this car has an EPA estimated range of 271 miles. So that is crazy for a figure. Now we are in eco mode. If you go to sport mode, for example, that's going to decrease the mileage based off of its estimate. So we're going to drive it in eco or normal this trip. They both kind of have very similar estimates. And again, just like our first leg up here, we're going to try not to use the climate control. So it's a little bit cooler today. Well, I guess maybe not right now, but once we get out of this garage, I think it'll be a little bit cooler outside. And we're going to go off of our current trip status here, but we'll also look at our trip status here since last reset. So we've already traveled 220.9 miles on this trip so far, 6 hours, 11 minutes, 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour. So we'll have an eye on this, and we'll also look at our since last charge. Let's go here. And the current trip as well, because those will both be pretty accurate of our distance traveled. So we'll go head off and I'll keep you guys updated on this journey. We'll see how our efficiency is, if we hit any traffic. I'm expecting this one to be a little bit more of a cleaner route, not a lot of traffic. So we'll kind of get a little bit of a better idea of a real range figure. And now we also did charge it up to nearly basically 100% of this 84 kilowatt hour battery pack. Hello everyone. Now, quick trip update. We haven't really had any sort of update actually on this entire trip because it's been so smooth. We've had zero traffic whatsoever, which is what we were expecting. So that's really great. Opening up our trip computer here, I'll read off some stats for you guys. Obviously it is dark out, so I will definitely overlay these for you if you cannot see on the video. We have now traveled 140.5 miles, 0.6 miles actually. We've been in the vehicle for 2 hours and 45 minutes. 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. So as expected, actually, a little bit lower efficiency since we have been traveling at a more higher rate of speed at a more consistent time versus previous where we had a lot of stop and go traffic, which allowed us that regen to kind of eat in to be a little bit more of an efficient overall drive. We still have around 50 miles left to go on this trip. And again, highway driving assistant has been a blessing on this entire journey. It's just really great. The lane change assist I've really come to love and just become very comfortable with over the course of this trip, as well as the Hyundai Group's really great turn signal cameras as well. And also really cool in here is all this ambient lighting. And we mentioned this in our full tour and review, I do wish it was a little bit easier to adjust on the fly if you did want to, or do it via voice. I did try it, it didn't seem to work. I may be doing something wrong though, but you have to go to setup and you got to go all the way over to vehicle, and you got to go to lights, and then you got to go to ambient lighting. This is probably something a passenger should be doing, honestly, if you have other people in the vehicle, but it is pretty nice ambient lighting, and there is an adjusted mode for night driving as well if it's too bright for you. This is actually just a normal mode right here. You can see how extensive it is. It really is a nice kind of touch to this cabin. And check out this color over here, and then you can select pretty much any single color you want via this gigantic color wheel. You press OK, and it kind of changes the color of your interior ambient lighting in here, which is really great. Okay, everyone, we have officially ended this entire road trip with the 2025 Kia EV6 GT-Line, and here are our stats from our second leg of this trip. So we covered 191.8 miles, 3 hours, 45 minutes on the road, and we did 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour, which actually is quite good. Now, we ended up with around 122 miles of range left in eco mode, which we used the whole time, and we're just around 40% of battery, which is around 60% we used over the course of this entire drive today. If you look over at our trip reset meter here, you'll see the entire total trip that we went to and from, so it's a total of 412.7 miles. 9 hours, 51 minutes, so that matters, but 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So it all ended up kind of averaging out to be around that number. So I think that's a pretty accurate number, which you'll see on this Kia EV6 if you're going on a longer road trip. So honestly, not bad. And we still have another 122 miles after already covering nearly 200. So this is a pretty good road tripper, and it charges pretty quick as well, as we demonstrated just at the beginning of this journey, charging it at a Tesla supercharger with its own NACS port built into the vehicle. So overall, I think this is a pretty good road trip, I have to say. Pretty impressed. Really no issues whatsoever to complain about. Even with our smart ventilation system on, which kind of recirculated air, it didn't actually use any climate power, which is really nice. So I honestly have a lot of great things to say about this, but it is been a long day. We're definitely going to go head to sleep, but thank you guys for joining us on this entire road trip of this 2025 Kia EV6 GT-Line, and thank you again for subscribing, and make sure to stay tuned for more content coming on Allcarnews soon. Cheers.